This is 2 Minutes About Time with Luke Allen and Robert E.G. Black, the podcast that takes a look at the film About Time 2 minutes at a time. I am Richard Curtis, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, well, you can just travel back in time 2 minutes and listen to something else.
I'm your host, Luke Allen. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Robert E.G. Black.
Hello.
And our special guest for this week, Joshua Griffiths.
Hello.
So today we're looking at minutes 33 and 34 of About Time. Minute 33 opens with Tim entering the blind restaurant where they were at a few minutes
and
earlier.
A really lame camera shot where the camera rises to make sure we know where he is. Like, we can't recognize it from, 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, that's true. It was literally 5-10 minutes ago, yeah.
But they want to make sure we're...
And considering how much of a reveal it was when Mary came out of those curtains, you'd think they'd assume we'd know it.
Yeah.
There is a Don Lenoir in London.
Yes, but this isn't it. This is some other restaurant, a Waffle House.
Although the video that comes up for it, there's a picture of one of the guys who works there, and he looks like he could be the blind waiter from the film.
Well, maybe Carlo was a real waiter. There's no credit for him.
Anyway, I'll look more into that in my own time and get back to you at another point, maybe. Who knows? So he enters Don Lenoir, and he says, 2 girls in earlier tonight. One of them the prettiest girl in the world. The other one like a sort of nice prostitute. Did you get their names? I love that he knows who they are. The fact that from that, he's like, yes, they left a while ago. Let's see. No, I'm afraid they were walk-ins, and it appeared they paid by cash. Sorry, sir. Yeah. I mean, do you find it odd that he knows who they mean straight away?
I don't know. I don't know how busy this restaurant is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe everyone comes as couples, and so he did note that 2 girls came together, and I don't know. It is funny that he knows. So
yeah, Joshua, what are your sort of impressions of this minute?
Well, I commented on the prostitute bit because I thought that it was. I actually thought it was very realistic because I have found myself in so many positions where I've tried to describe someone to them, and I've used one of the most weirdest attributes to them. It could be the one with the big ears, or that one that looks like, and it literally that person then goes, "Oh yeah, I know the one you mean," and it always amazes me how they know that.
Yeah. Well, the prostitute comment, although he doesn't know it, is something that's like a callback, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because Mary says that why have I forgotten her name? Heck. Joanna. I'll probably just end up referring to her as just Vanessa Kirby.
That's fine.
It appears I'm remembering the cast names better. So Rachel McAdams says of Vanessa Kirby that she's like a prostitute, which she agrees to. But yeah, obviously the guy doesn't know, and it is quite funny and, as you say, realistic that they know this. And actually, did you get their names? What difference does that make? Oh, I guess surnames.
Well, Tim could find him, if he had the
books?
surname.
That makes sense. So he says, "Oh, that's okay. That's fine. It's brilliant. It's just the end of my life. Thanks so much." I like how the waiter, not the waiter, the guy's just so, would he be allowed to give out that information anyway?
He's not a psychiatrist or anything. There's no expectation of privacy. It's probably a bad practice to do it all the time, because then people will notice and have a problem, but...
Yeah, I guess if he's literally describing people who have gone in,
yeah,
then it means that he knows them. And then, Tim walks out while we have mid-air instrumental playing, and a sort of more melancholy version of what was playing when Mary first walked through those curtains.
Yep, and we get Tim walking on Harry Street, where we saw him just a few minutes ago, and he was super happy, and now he's not, and he's the same location.
And how dark his suit is works really well at this point as well.
Well, he's blending in again.
Yeah, brilliant. So he walks into Harry's flat, which we get such a cut to brightness straight away, which I guess almost expresses the difference in their moods to an extent. It's all dark for him, and it's all bright for Harry, although obviously this is the following morning. And it's, cheer up, mate. Apparently you're living with Britain's greatest living playwright. I don't usually read them, obviously, but couldn't resist this one.
Yeah, Harry happy is
just so weird to
funny.
See him happy. So actually, I guess another comment, Joshua, since we have Richard E. Grant and we've got Tom Hollander and all of that, how much of the cast that you've seen in these minutes are people that you recognise from other things?
To be fair, I recognise virtually every single one of the main roles. That's what also surprised me. I didn't realise how many people that I'd recognised in the film because it's the first time I've seen it, and well, I can't really comment
Just-
other than that.
just
There was
wait till you get
every
to-
single main
yeah.
character.
Just wait till you get to Bill Nighy and Margot Robbie and all of them who are in it as well.
Star-studded cast.
And quite a few of these before they were famous.
Yeah.
Like Margot Robbie, it was literally like a couple of months before Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else there is to say on this minute. It's weird, we normally have so much to say. Tim does blend in quite well at the start with, his gingerness matching the lights of the restaurant as well. Whether that means anything at all. But it is sort of quite black and yellowy orange.
What's going to matter is when Tim doesn't blend in with the background, because those scenes probably it's really deliberate, and maybe it's when he's happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I could say Tim even blends in with Harry's house in the end scene. And actually, if we had the deleted scene, would this be a callback?
What?
That he's not wearing pajamas. He's in fact wearing t-shirt and... I mean, I guess it could just be a t-shirt he's wearing.
Yeah, it could. He just be
with
dressed.
Harry in a dressing gown and Tim not being in the striped pajamas. I'm wondering whether this is just... I mean, he's obviously not trying to make an impression on Harry, but maybe it's a new habit since Charlotte's comment. I don't
Plus, his bedroom is on the 3rd floor. He probably gets dressed before he comes downstairs, just so he's ready for the day, so he doesn't have to go back up there again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although this house is still smaller than his family home.
Yeah, but that's only two floors.
Is it only 2 floors? Joshua, I'm just realising that I haven't given you as much to speak, and I don't know what there is to ask you.
It's absolutely fine. I mean, obviously, I'm finding it hard to comment on a film I haven't watched.
Yeah.
But I'll input when I can.
Okay. As long as I just want to be ensuring that we're not leaving you out, because that would be pointless of a guest.
No, I'm enjoying it. It's good.
I'm really enjoying your perspective of having not seen the film.
Yeah, I love
so if we
the
got any
idea
other
of this sequence without time travel, because it's like he lost a number, so he runs back to the restaurant. It still works.
And it proves how real the time travel is in this. Like I have said, it's the most realistic film about time travel.
It's just a constant metaphor for every other method you could do to get things back.
So have we got any other comments on 33 before we go straight to 34?
No, because we can't even see the newspaper yet.
Anyway, minute 34, he then says, Harry Chapman found guilty of genius. And Tim looks at that and just spots the Kate Moss advert and says, I have to go out right now. Why? She loves Kate Moss. I mean, so what's your impression of this whole thing, Joshua?
Well, obviously, I don't know whether she likes Kate Moss or not, apart from what he said. But how I'd commented is I actually thought that was a really clever way of filming it, because the first initial point is you're drawn to the headline. So you're drawn to the review about him, and it's not until he mentions Kate Moss that all of a sudden your eyes then flick down to the advert.
Yeah.
So I think that was a very clever way of being able to film it.
It is odd in 2013. I think we said before in the original comment on Kate Moss, it is odd in 2013 for there to be so many discussions in a film about Kate Moss, right?
Maybe.
It depends.
To be fair, the Kate Moss exhibit we see is real. In 2010, it was called Kate Who, and in 2012, it was called Moss Testino, which I assume is when they filmed it, was in 2012. So this ad is real. So is the article next to it about Diane Rigg starring in a stage version of All About My Mother, which happened in 2007 at the Old Vic. So right now we're in June, basically, of 2007 in the movie, which fits with him telling the story in 2012, 2013.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought that obviously we're not in 2013 now. Like, I for some reason, even though the film takes place over, 9 years? Like, my brain has gone, every year is 2013.
And interestingly, Mary said it was taken as a joke that she was thinking of wearing a Kate Moss dress to the restaurant. But in May 2007, Kate Moss launched a line of clothing. So she could have actually worn a Kate Moss dress.
Maybe in 2007 it was relevant enough to talk about it. Just as I was 3 in 2007, so I wouldn't know.
After the 90s, I didn't pay attention to Kate Moss, so it was definitely, interesting.
I don't think I knew of her until this film. Like, I mean, it might have been a name that I'd heard and not really thought anything of. But as far as I'm aware, this film was like, Kate Moss, I guess she must be a model. And that was just it. Which is good because it doesn't rely on you knowing who Kate Moss is either. You can figure it out easily.
Well, apparently the photographer is huge, and I hadn't heard of him, oddly, until doing my notes for this minute yesterday.
Richard Curtis has described these pictures as like some of the greatest pieces of art.
So clearly Richard Curtis likes her. Or likes this photographer and her.
So we have Friday I'm in Love by The Cure playing over this sequence of the montage. And it's such a good montage. Like, and such a great use of music as well. Like, I can't really fault this whole thing. Apparently the montage was originally a lot longer, and Donal like ate a lot more stuff. Like you can see on the gag reel, like I think he literally turns to Richard Curtis and says, "If I get diabetes, I'm suing."
Well, as it is, we see him eat an apple, some sort of bar, something else, a cupcake. We see him eat at least 4 different things.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot more in the blooper reel. And so he's obviously here for like the entire time of the exhibit.
Yeah, we see him in 4 different outfits.
Yeah, I like the fact that he stays at the same spot.
Yeah, well, you can see down that hallway.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Really, it's a logical thing to stay at that one spot so that he can, ensure that. Well, even if it wasn't down the hallway, she'd be bound to come to that one spot eventually. So if he kept walking around and looking for her, there'd be no exact chance that he'd find her. So, Joshua, what do you think of the whole montage?
I really like the montage. What I like about it is the fact that it's almost like a mirror image, because he's directly in the centre of the screen the whole time. And if you look at the whole image of itself, everything on that screen is equal. Even when all the girls sit next to him, you've got 2 girls one side, 2 girls the other. It's always that constant mirrored image. And
when it's unequal, it has like guy on one side, and then the next shot is woman on the other side, so it still matches up.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I really like this montage, and it's one of the more artsy-esque elements of the film, really. And it works quite well because you'd imagine that this is, we look at it as Tim telling us the story.
Yeah.
And that works because he's sort of, he's saying, and I waited there for days and days, and that's what you'd picture, I guess.
What I love is where he's sitting, because he's in front of that photo of Kate Moss in like the tie and like a suit. There is a cat in that photo. Kit Kat will mention it next minute. But in this minute, Tim is sitting essentially where the cat is. And every once in a while, you'll see its head framed right by his head. And it's kind of creepy looking, but kind of cute. It's like he's this cat who's just sitting there waiting in the photo.
The thing is, I'm just imagining how like uncomfortable and probably quite boring it would get to be Donal Gleeson in this montage. like the yawning thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's having a conversation for quite a while, so for him to kind of slow motion maintain that the entire time, it'd be interesting. So if we got any sort of final comments on this minute?
I got one. There's a guard who we see down the hallway in most of this montage. But at the end of this minute, he's now standing right by that photo and near Tim. Like he's maybe noticed Tim has been sitting there every day and it's gotten a little suspicious. Because he wasn't standing there before and now he's down at that end of the hall.
That's really true. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's just such a beautiful and wonderful part of the film. And I don't think I remember it every time, to be honest. Like, it's not one of the iconic moments of About Time, particularly. But
it kind of should be.
It should be. Actually, is it much of a moments film at all? I guess there aren't really many things where you say About Time and you picture like a specific scene, is there? Maybe the wedding?
Or him talking to his father the first time or the last time.
But yeah, this scene is just sort of forgotten about. Or at least, to me, I forget it quite a lot. Except when I'm listening to the soundtrack. And obviously, the more obsessed I've come with the film, the more I know every scene. So, Joshua, have you got any sort of final comments on this minute?
No, not for me.
Okay, so where can the listeners find you on social media?
They can find me on Facebook under Joshua Griffiths, under Twitter on @JoshG98, on Instagram as Joshua Griffiths 2, and you can even find me on YouTube under JJR Films and Vlogs with 2 Gs.
And Robert, where can listeners find you?
Social media, Robert E.G. Black, or my website, lemmingdrops.com, for links to all my podcasts and blog and my old YouTube reviews and whatnot.
And the listeners can find me on social media, on Twitter @llama_bottle0, on Instagram @thegingerluke, on Facebook at Luke Allen Film. I don't know why I'm still forgetting it. I should know by now.
You should.
We're only how many minutes in? on lukeallen.co.uk for short films, podcasts, radio appearances, newspaper articles. And they can find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 2 Mins About Time. You can also join our Facebook group, The Cupboard. Not entirely sure what do we do on the group, Robert? What have we been doing on the group, I guess, by the time they've been listening to this?
I don't know. You can make some surveys or something to get people to jump in and talk more. We'll see.
There we go. You can pop on and give your thoughts on this film, even if you despise every minute of it, or despise both of us. Come on and tell us that.
Especially if you despise us.
Yeah, please do. Get in touch if you hate us. Thank you. Thanks so much for listening, and goodbye. The 2 Minutes About Time theme is performed by Ethan O'Mahony and is a cover of the About Time theme, originally composed by Nick Laird-Close. 2 Minutes About Time is a production of Lemming Drop Studios in association with Bottle O Productions.